I wanted to today, in light of that theme, right, with this in the backdrop, this about owning your story, taking the reins, and redirecting, zeroing in on your own trajectory. Right, in light of that, I want to take a look at some verses that actually address choices, but especially choices of gratitude and of arrogance or stubbornness or ingratitude, kufr in that sense, and misery, and by contrast, success. So, a verse comes to mind that I wanted to share with you guys, and it's from Surah Nahl, verse 112. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وضرب الله مثلا قرية كانت آمنة مطمئنة يأتيها رزقها رغدا من كل مكان. And Allah gives an example, a parable of a settlement, a people, كانت, that this settlement was safe, secure, tranquil, in bliss, مطمئنة يأتيها رزقها رغدا من كل مكان, in living in opulence and prosperity. فكفرت بأنعم الله. And then, now kafarat can mean to disbelieve, but when kufr is used to do with blessings and juxtaposed with gratitude, then this kufr usually means to be ungrateful. It doesn't mean to disbelieve in a faithful sense. So the noun for it in Arabic is kufran and not kufr. So kufr is usually the opposite of iman, and kufran is the opposite of shukr, as in kufranun ni'mah. So as it mentions, فَكَفَرَتْ بِأَنْعُمِ اللَّهِ فَأَذَاقَهَا اللَّهُ لِبَاسَ الْجُوعِ وَالْخَوْفِ بِمَا كَانُوا يَصْنَعُونَ. So Allah allowed them to taste, made them taste. And here there's the metaphor, a garment of misery, of anxiety, of suffering, of hunger, but by their own doing. Allah simply allowed them, enabled them, if that was what they wanted to do. So often people will think that, look, but these people, if they want to act out, if they want to be tyrants, if people want tyranny, oppression, they want to do wrongdoing, they want to, then Allah often allows them. And with it, أذاقهم لباس الجوع. Why libas? Why a garment? Because the way it envelops you, it wraps around you. This is how the suffering wraps around them. بما كانوا يصنعون. By their own doing. And remember that this suffering, it could be a suffering right here. It could be that people, they, by choosing a path of tyranny, by choosing a path of cruelty, of abuse, it could begin right there at a mental level, continue to suffer, that it wraps around them. Allah mentions libas al-ju', that maybe the hunger is that they are met with failures in life, that they lose prosperity, that they are actually hungry. Maybe it's a hunger for happiness, that they never truly manage to manage to obtain or be satiated with. Maybe it's a hunger for love, for compassion, for emotions that they become deprived from. That libas al-ju', that this hunger, it doesn't have to be restricted just to the hunger of that. Many kinds of things that they may remain starved from throughout this life as a consequence, bima kanu yasna'un, as a consequence of their own doing, of the path of tyranny and abuse that maybe they chose. Just a powerful reminder, wallahi, that this, and it will tie in today as well with when we go into the Strength in Stories segment, but that this وضرب الله مثلا قرية كانت آمنة مطمئنة يأتيها رزقها رغدا من كل مكان فكفرت بأنعم الله فأذاقها الله لباس الجوع والخوف بما كانوا يصنعون. That this is by their own doing, it enveloped them. But they had a time where they were living in great prosperity, mutma'inna, so tranquil and in bliss. They had that. Amina, safe and secure. But they chose to be ungrateful. It's a very powerful reminder. And I thought sometimes it's good to see these verses, to remind us as well that, things can be sometimes difficult, but so what? There's still so much to be grateful for. And absolutely, and following with that, an amazing verse that really shows not only reflects this verse that we just read, but just clearly, just magnificently shows the mercy of Allah. That you see from Surah An-Nisa, verse 147, that وَمَا يَفْعَلُ اللَّهُ بِعَذَابِكُمْ إِن شَكَرْتُمْ وَآمَنْتُمْ. See, now this honestly is one of the most powerful verses in the Quran. وَمَا يَفْعَلُ اللَّهُ بِعَذَابِكُمْ. What would Allah get by punishing you? ما يفعل الله بعذابكم إن شكرتم وآمنتم. If only, if you are grateful, if you have this faith, and this faith, it does what? If you are grateful with what? Not that if you are grateful just in the sense that you are doing, oh, I'm grateful, but that you too, you kind of bring that into your heart. You show it to people, humans, people suffering. You give forward in shakartum. You see, shukr is not just like praising Allah. That's hamd. Shukr is where you act it out. And you act it out. God doesn't need anything from you. But Allah says in a hadith that, oh, where were you when I was starving? And the person says, but you're Allah. What was that? Doesn't even make any sense. Allah says, well, such and such was starving. If only لو أطعمته لوجدتني عنده. If you'd fed that person, you would have found me there. Where were you when such and such was sick? If you'd visited them, you would have found me there. This is shukr. ما يفعل الله بعذابكم إن شكرتم وآمنتم. And iman, yes, of course, it's about iman, but also it's having that narrative, that script within you. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ شَاكِرًا عَلِيمًا. See, Allah Himself is, now look how it's used. Allah Himself is grateful. Look at the word. Wow. Even though what it means is that He is responsive, ever so always responding to gratitude. But it's used in a way to show you that, look, Allah Himself is grateful. Using that word, although what it actually means is that Allah responds to your gratitude always. And Alima. And why Alima, ending it with Alima? Because every little thing of gratitude, it is known. Because often a lot of things will sincerely be done if a person just does them and people won't be around. You might just be doing something online and you might help someone, or maybe you see somebody and you talk to them. And this isn't always about, like, I know often it's about an easy ways of somebody actually gives something, but it doesn't have to be monetary or even products or items. Sometimes it's just asking someone how they're doing. Sometimes it's just extending courtesy, some form of positive regard. You're kind of giving the. Sometimes it's just listening to someone. that in itself, humans, taraske, they're like so, they're like starving and so thirsty for someone to just hear their plight, hear their things, and sometimes it's just that, it's extending an ear and a heart. That's all it is. So it doesn't always mean that somebody has to be in a monetary sense but giving is much greater than that, than actual kind of monetary or itemized giving. So yeah, so Allah ends it because every little thing, Allah is still, because a person could think, Kan Allahu shakiran alima. Allah knows. Surah An-Nisa 147. I thought that was an amazing ayah, and it also ties in with today's uh, one of the stories. So I thought, yeah, it's a brilliant thing to kind of share. All right, we'll move on. I'll take a look at